If you're emotional, be careful. Because after this story, nothing around you will ever look the same again. Now listen closely.
Tanko was a well-known man in Kafintai, a small but lively modern town where cement houses stood beside mud homes, and motorcycles hummed through narrow streets. He wasn't rich in the way people bragged, but he was comfortable, respected, hardworking, and known for running the largest chicken poultry in the entire district. Everyone admired him because he built his success from nothing. When he started, he had only 4 hens, 1 old cock, and a leaking wooden coop behind his mother's kitchen. But through determination, sweat, and early morning discipline, his poultry grew until he had hundreds of birds. The whole community bought eggs from him. Schools bought from him. Even hotels came from other towns to buy his chickens. Tanko was a man people pointed at and said, "That one, he understands business." But life, as we know, does not bow to anybody's achievements. One evening, as the sun dipped beyond the rooftops of Kafintai, something terrible happened. A big black snake, nobody knew from where, slithered into Tanko's poultry. It struck in silence, moving like a shadow through the cages. By morning, disaster had already taken full shape. Tanko entered the poultry to feed his chickens, and froze. Everything was silent. No fluttering wings. No restless clucking. No movement. No sound. Just rows upon rows of dead hens, lying lifeless on the dusty floor. At first, Tanko thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. He blinked, stepped forward, shook one of the birds. Cold. Stiff. He rushed through the poultry, checking every corner, every cage. All gone. Every hen. All his investment. All his sweat. All his hope. Gone. When he found the dead snake in one corner, its head crushed from the chickens' desperate attempt to defend themselves, it only added salt to his wound. Tanko sank to the ground and cried like a baby. A grown man. A business owner. A respected figure in the community. Crying helplessly, painfully, openly. And who could blame him? That poultry was his life. Now, in that same small town lived a curious young boy named Musa. He was 12 years old, tall for his age, and known for always asking questions, always wanting to understand how things worked. Children his age played street football, chased kites, or followed their mothers to the market. But not Musa. He preferred hanging around workshops, stores, farms, and sometimes, Tanko's poultry. He wasn't disturbing anyone, he just liked watching people work. His curiosity was something natural, something deep inside him. That morning, as Tanko wailed, Musa was outside the fence, watching quietly. His heart softened. He had never seen a man cry like that. After a long while, Tanko managed to gather the dead chickens, packed them into sacks, and carried them away with heavy steps, heading toward the dump site behind an uncompleted building. Musa followed at a distance. Not because he wanted to steal anything. Not because he wanted trouble. But because his curiosity nudged him forward like a whisper. Go and see. He hid behind a tree as Tanko emptied the sacks. When the last chicken dropped on the heap, Tanko knelt, wiped his tears, and muttered. All gone, everything gone. God, what will I do now? Then he rose slowly and left, shoulders bent, spirit shattered. Musa remained hidden until Tanko disappeared down the road. Then he stepped out. There, in a pile of feathers and dust, lay almost 100 dead chickens. The whole place smelled of loss. Musa swallowed painfully. He had never seen such tragedy. But then curiosity pushed him closer. Slowly, he bent and touched one of the hens. Cold. He tried another. Still. But then, when he moved a small brown hen, something shocked him. A tiny twitch. Musa jumped back, heart racing. The hen flicked its claws weakly, barely alive but not completely gone. Musa gasped. He looked around, thinking Tanko might return. He imagined telling Tanko what he found. But Tanko had walked far away, crying like a man who had buried his future. Should he run after him? Should he call the man back? But something whispered inside Musa. Save it. That was all. Save it. He didn't know why. He didn't know what it would lead to. He didn't know how to raise a chicken. He didn't even know if the hen would live. But he lifted the weak hen gently into his arms and carried it home. When Musa got home, his mother shouted, "Ah! Musa! Where are you coming from with a dying chicken? Drop that thing." He didn't drop it. He begged. He explained. He convinced. And finally, his mother sighed and nodded. He built a small box coop behind their window. He used old cloth as bedding. He fed the chicken soaked maize water. He warmed its body with a lantern during cold nights. He cleaned its wounds. He kept watch every morning before school. Every day, he prayed the hen would live. Days passed. Weeks passed. One morning, as Musa sprinkled some grain, the hen stood fully for the first time and pecked the floor. He screamed out of joy. "Mama! It is alive! The hen is strong!" From that moment, Musa cared for that chicken not as a bird, but as a symbol. A symbol of hope. A symbol of second chances. A symbol of what can happen when you pay attention to opportunities that everyone else ignores. Time moved forward. 3 months later, the hen began to lay eggs. 1 egg today. 2 the next week. Then more. Musa built a bigger coop using scrap wood from a carpenter's workshop. He sold some eggs to his mother's friends. He saved the money in a tin can under his bed. With the money from the first 2 months, he bought another hen. Later, he bought a cock. Then more chicks. People began noticing. Is that not Musa? The boy selling eggs? When did he start this business? He is small but he thinks like an adult. Word spread. His small poultry grew steadily, 1 hen at a time. While other boys bought biscuit and toys with their money, Musa reinvested every naira. He studied how Tanko used to run his own poultry from afar. He watched the feeding timing. He learned how to treat minor diseases. He learned when hens were ready to lay. He learned when they were stressed. His curiosity became his greatest strength. Year after year, Musa's business expanded. By the age of 16, he already had a medium-sized poultry, customers who trusted him, a notebook where he listed expenses and profits, and a vision bigger than his age. The once dying hen had become the foundation of his success. Time flew. The little boy who once touched a dying chicken had grown into a young man with determination in his eyes. At 18, he bought a plot of land. At 19, he built a proper poultry with cement walls. At 21, he became one of the youngest poultry suppliers to hotels and supermarkets in the region. He wasn't just lucky. He worked. He sacrificed. He remained disciplined. In the same town, Tanko's fate had changed. After the tragedy of the snake attack, he never fully recovered. He tried starting again, but age, debt, and emotional exhaustion weighed him down. He sold his land. He stopped farming. He became a shadow of the man he once was. He never knew that the last surviving hen, the one he didn't notice, was somewhere in the world, multiplying blessings under a young boy's care. Many years later, Musa decided to do something unusual. Something nobody expected. Something that came from a place of gratitude and humility. He had become rich. He had cars. He had employees. He had expanded his business beyond the town. But one thing remained in his heart. Tanko. The man whose tragedy became his opportunity. Early one morning, Musa dressed neatly, took an envelope stuffed with money, packed a giant hamper filled with food items, and asked his driver to accompany him. They drove toward the small house where Tanko now lived, old and tired. When Tanko opened the door and saw Musa, he didn't recognize him. "Good morning, sir," Musa greeted, bowing slightly. Tanko nodded slowly. Good morning, young man. How can I help you? Musa smiled gently. You may not remember me. But many years ago, something happened in your poultry. A snake killed your chickens. You threw them away. A long silence. Tanko's eyes narrowed as old memories rose to the surface. Yes, I remember that terrible day, he whispered. Well, Musa continued softly, I was the boy standing behind the fence. I followed you. After you left, I found one hen still alive. Tanko's eyes widened. What? Yes. I took it home. I nursed it back to life. It laid eggs. I bought more hens. I grew it into a business. He paused. And today, everything I have came from that one hen you lost. Tears slowly welled in Tanko's eyes. He sat down on the wooden stool by his door, overwhelmed, trembling. You mean to tell me, he said with a cracked voice, that my loss became your beginning? Yes, sir. Musa knelt before Tanko. You did not know it, but your tragedy became my opportunity. And I am here to say thank you. Tanko covered his face with his hands and cried softly, not tears of pain this time, but tears of shock, gratitude, and disbelief. Musa signaled his driver, who brought out the hamper. Then Musa placed the thick envelope of money on Tanko's palm and bowed again. This is for you, sir. For the man who unintentionally gave me the seed that grew my entire future. Tanko could not speak for several minutes. Finally, he whispered. Bless you, my son. Bless you. You are the child every parent dreams of. You have repaid me in a way I never expected. But Musa shook his head. No, sir. I only did what every human should do. Never forget the source. Never forget where your story started. Tanko held his hand, tears streaming down his wrinkled cheeks. I thought my story ended that day, he said. But today you made me realize that sometimes God hides a blessing for someone else in your loss. The old man wiped his tears. And you, Musa, you found it. My listener, remember this. Opportunities do not always appear big. Sometimes, they hide inside failure. Inside curiosity. Inside something everyone else has thrown away. Tanko saw dead chickens. The whole town saw disaster. But Musa saw a chance, a small, weak, unimportant chance. He didn't wait for a big capital. He didn't wait for perfect conditions. He didn't wait for life to bless him with something huge. He took what was available. He nurtured it. He respected it. And it grew into success. That is how life works. If you learned something from this story, if Musa's courage, curiosity, and discipline touched your heart, if you believe opportunities can come from the smallest things, then don't just listen. Don't just nod. Don't just smile. Take that small idea you've been ignoring. Start with the little you have. Pay attention to the things others throw away. Protect your opportunities, no matter how small they look. And if this story inspired you, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs motivation, and subscribe for more powerful African stories.